Has anyone ever crossed the Alps in a wheelchair? I mean, I know people have done it on elephants, but that was a while ago.
I was going to say something like that.
And I just thought, okay, let's look into the feasibility of this. After so long of the medical establishment not knowing and getting it wrong and not understanding, being given an answer was fantastic. Also, I thought, there are people out there who could have a disease-altering drug that they can't access, and that really frustrates me. I'm very aware that the lowest moment is still to come. One of the things I would say to people if they have a diagnosis of ataxia or any rare condition that's life-altering is that...
Ataxia. It's not exactly a household name, but for more than 10,500 people across the UK, ataxia is a devastating neurological condition that affects balance, coordination, and speech. It's also a condition that's incredibly close to home. My father passed away last year from complications associated with ataxia. But this isn't a story about what ataxia takes away. It's about what one man refused to let it take. After spending 15 years searching for answers, Ben Spencer was finally diagnosed with progressive ataxia. Most people would have been forgiven for slowing down. But Ben did the opposite. He climbed Snowdon, he completed the London Marathon, and last year he became one of the first people ever to cross the Alps in a manual wheelchair. To put it in perspective, most of us complain when the lift's out of order. Today isn't just about remarkable physical endurance, it's about mindset. And what happens when you decide your diagnosis doesn't get to write the rest of your story. Ataxia is a very serious condition and lesser-known neurological disorder. With thanks to the charity Ataxia UK for helping us to make this episode possible, today we're here to help raise awareness for it and promote some of the amazing work that the charities out there are doing in the hope to find a cure. And to that effect, here is Ben Spencer's story. Did I capture that all right?
I think that's good.
A lot of people...
You always get bigged up quite heavily at the start.
Yeah, it's all downhill from
It's all downhill from here, yeah.
I can see your little reading thing doesn't have all the things that you were saying. A few
no.
incomplete sentences in there.
He
that
didn't
you
read
had
that. He had that memorized.
And I actually had, whatever. I mean, we're giving away the tricks of the trade here. But Ben, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for being here.
Oh, you're more than welcome.
Just very quickly, for those of you, obviously you've been in the news throughout your time. You've been in newspaper and on the radio, I believe, as well.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know who Ben is, if you wouldn't mind just in a few words, who is Ben Spencer?
I think I'm just your average bloke who just happened to come across a rare disease that wanted to stay around, and I thought, you can either get into your head with it or you can get out there and you can get stuff done.
Yeah, and I think we want to talk about that quite a lot. But one thing that was quite powerful in your when we were doing our research before this was that you lived with the condition for, I think it was 15 years.
Yeah, we think so. We're not entirely sure.
Yeah, sure.
It came on so slowly for me, and I'm one of the very lucky people that my progression is very slow.
And if you don't mind me asking, what did that progression look like that prompted you perhaps to seek out the diagnosis?
Can we start with what ataxia is?
Well, we're getting to that. Oh, yeah, okay, fine. Let's do that.
Start.
Yeah.
How do you define ataxia, Ben?
I think the biggest thing is to get across that it's an umbrella term for a number of different conditions that all have the word ataxia in them. So you can have something called Friedreich's ataxia. You can have spinal cerebellar ataxia. You can even have gluten ataxia. So some people have ataxia because gluten reacts badly in their body. And so there's a number of different ataxias. But to keep the world simple, because all of them are rare, we say ataxia.
Yeah. And your specific type of ataxia?
So I have idiopathic cerebellar ataxia, and the idiopathic means that they don't know what's caused it. And there's some debate as to whether I have more than one condition as well. And that's quite common in rare disease and neurological conditions, that sometimes things overlap.
Yeah. I think I remember, with my dad, when he had his diagnosis, it took a long time for them to officially diagnose it.
Yeah.
And he had many similar overlapping symptoms. But I think that's why I wanted to sort of have this conversation as well, is because, I mean, I know only 10,500 people, I think, in the UK are diagnosed with it. And so, maybe most clinicians aren't that familiar with it. But I think it's a very important conversation to have to raise awareness for it, because seeing what, my dad was basically in and out of, I'm not sure if it's the same experience for you, but in and out of hospital, and they weren't quite sure what it was. And then sort of a couple of years down the line, they eventually said it was ataxia.
Yeah.
What was it? So going back to my original point before Robert so rudely interrupted, what was the kind of the symptoms that led you to either seek the diagnosis or to get diagnosed?
So at first it was really minor. There was the odd sort of tremor and things that weren't quite right with my hands. But then I noticed that my walking was becoming more difficult. And I noticed if I was hiking, for instance, I used to love hiking. And I was using hiking sticks, then it would make a big difference. And I didn't think too much about it. We went on holiday with some friends and everyone's walking across the beach, and I was finding I just couldn't walk across the sand. I was getting there, but it was a real struggle.
Was it the balance?
It was the balance and just trying to coordinate my feet. So my balance is not too bad. I do have issues with it, like I can still stand and weight bear. But if the floor isn't perfectly flat, then I'm quite likely to start tippling over.
So is it a coordination thing?
It's a mixture. So for me, I find trouble coordinating my limbs, especially my feet. And as it's progressed, and I'm sure we'll get into that later, I have other coordination issues.
Okay. Most people, if they got a diagnosis like that, would be fairly hard hit by it. How did you navigate a situation where mental health and physical health sort of came to a head?
Yeah, it's a really great question. I think, probably paradoxically, I was relieved because I had an answer to what was going on. Somebody had a label for so long. I'd been going to the doctors to the point where I just gave up in the end. And it was only because my partner really pestered me and I found myself on 2 walking sticks looking like an old lady that, I kind of pushed to find more answers. And after so long of the medical establishment not knowing and getting it wrong and not understanding, being given an answer was fantastic. Also, I thought.
Right.
Because for a while that was brilliant and I didn't really have any issues. My partner was devastated. We started researching it pretty quickly. And because everyone's different, sometimes it looks like you're going to pass away in a few months. Sometimes it might not have life-shortening consequences, and you just don't know. And I was very lucky. I got sent to London Ataxia Centre at Queen Square, and they're fantastic. And I thought to myself, because you wait quite a while to go there, and then there's appointments and tests, and then you wait quite a while as well. And I thought to myself, okay, great, I've got ataxia. They're going to tell me what the cause is, and then we can work out if I can get any kind of treatment whatsoever and so forth. And probably 4 or 5 years later from that diagnosis, I don't have a cause. And I think when I've got a big challenge on and I'm focused on that, I don't think about it. But when there isn't something like that going on, it does start to mess with your head.
And that's the and so I thought part, is that you've constantly got this feeling of you don't know what's causing it and how to stop it.
Yeah. And I think I've transposed going from, being mentally very tough and going, oh, yeah, I'm just going to get on with life. I'm going to, take time out, do things now, and all that sort of positive energy I put out on my feeds and the challenges I do. And slowly in the background, it's building up with that kind of stress of, I don't know what the cause is, and I really want to know.
And I guess also you don't know what's next, because I mean, with ataxia, I think am I right in understanding that it's a progressive disorder, right? As in, I mean, I guess there's different types, but some types that, I don't want to use the term degenerative, but like the symptoms progress.
Yeah,
Is that right?
You can use the term degenerative. I think, it's a bit like when people are scared to say disabled.
Yeah.
Use degenerative. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
It's a word that is used to name something.
No, I know. Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, I guess that must also be weighing in the back of your mind. It's like, what's to come next? Or is that something that's mapped out by your clinician?
But I think at some point you have to accept that you're not in control. You have to accept that your life is different and it's going to be different. And if you can find things that help you adapt to that, especially community and maybe other disabled people or the fantastic ataxia community, then you can deal with that on a sort of month by month basis. But I think as the years go on, it chips away at you.
I'm sure.
So you find that the challenges that you do bring you up, and then when that goes away, it kind of drops back down. You need to find something else to occupy your mind. Or?
Yeah, 100%. And what I didn't realize is this cycle that I was doing a big challenge, being really up, focusing 100% on that, and then slowly going down and then going, okay, I need another challenge. I didn't realize that was just a coping mechanism.
Yeah, it's a distraction almost, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you think that's healthy? I mean, it is obviously physically healthy because you're using everything. Do you think that's healthy mentally? Do you find that healthy mentally for you?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Not that it stopped you doing challenges at all.
And we'll get to that, yeah.
Yeah, well, there is another aspect to it. And a lot of people that I've spoken to with ataxia say that physical exercise helps, definitely mentally. There's some anecdotal evidence to say that a lot of physical exercise can slow progression, but it's very wishy-washy, so I wouldn't want to put it out there that is the cause, but I feel that it does for me. And I know that some of the symptoms I have are much worse if I've not been exercising for a few days, like cramps and spasms and things like that.
And what's the treatment like right now? I mean, is there a treatment for your specific type of ataxia?
Yeah, another great question. I think that's why mentally the not knowing has started to chip away, because we're seeing treatments come out for very specific types of ataxia. And we're seeing possible uses of CRISPR to maybe edit genes, and that there is hope that there'll be a cure found. But because I don't have a cause, I'm not eligible for any of those treatments. But I'm very glad they're there. I've got a really good friend who's got Friedreich's ataxia, and there's a treatment out called, I think the brand name is Skyclarys, and people say Olmev or something like that. And what's really great about that is it's working for a lot of people in many countries. But at the moment, NICE in the UK, the NHS authority that says yes or no to paying for these things, has basically said no. And that means there are people out there who could have a disease-altering drug that they can't access, and that really frustrates me.
Is that where the charities come into play, where they sort of advocate for that?
Yeah, it's one of the things they do, and they do really well. So, for instance, Andy Burnham, I don't know if you've heard of him. He signed a letter, a little while ago to say, come on, you've got to find a way of funding this for people. And now he's Prime Minister. There's obviously a bit of hope that he's going to stand by that.
That's really good. With so much uncertainty going on in your life, how do you navigate your darker days then?
I think the biggest thing is now that I'm working part-time, so I've gone back to work part-time, mainly to fund these mad challenges.
What is it you do full-time?
So I work for a sports team, and it's a disabled sports team. You may have heard of it. It's called Paralympics GB. And they're very close to my heart for obvious reasons, but they also do a lot of work to promote disabled sports and to get access to disabled children in school to get sports education, because there are big issues and barriers there. So there's two parts of it. There's the elite sport, which I'm fascinated about, and I'm very lucky to work with a lot of Paralympians. And then there are the social programs that are really going to grassroots to get access for disabled people in the sports, and I think that's so powerful.
Yeah. So you're working part-time, that helps you. What are some other kind of approaches or tools or techniques you use to maybe lift yourself up?
Metacognition. So metacognition is thinking about your thinking.
Okay.
All right. So you're going along in life, and maybe you're a bit down, or maybe you're really excited, and those thoughts can spiral. I think we've all had those days, those dark days where the thoughts spiral. And if you can find some time to think about your thinking, you can maybe shed some light on why you're thinking these things and why you're feeling that way. And maybe if you can abstract yourself and think about those processes, then it might help you process those thoughts. Hopefully in a positive way.
That's an interesting one. So what does that look like in your mind? That's you consciously thinking about.
Yeah.
Is it kind of like cognitive behavioral therapy?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I don't know much about that, but it's a similar thing. It's like approaching not the moment, but the moments around the moment.
Yeah, I've heard of a technique like that where you're pretty much just stepping back and observing what's happening in your head, not reacting to it, not feeling it, but saying like, oh, actually, so I've been thinking about this and I've been feeling this way, and that little bit of distance actually helps settle you a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably going to get completely destroyed by the keyboard warriors for this, but this basic Philistine interpretation of cognitive behavioral therapy, but I think it's exactly the same in the sense where you, as soon as you have a thought, you acknowledge the thought and you kind of better understand why you're having that thought. And that helps you make sense of that thought. I'm trying to think if there's another way I can add thought.
No, I think that's right.
That's right, isn't
it's
it?
conditioning yourself to thinking, you're basically using the conscious part of your brain. I think this is what it is.
I'm not even sure that's
But
cognitive behavioral therapy, so yeah, you're going to get ripped apart.
I mean,
But it's
also we have the benefit of Google right in front of
but
me.
it's using, and you're going to use your computer for the first time in all of our podcasts. But it's using the conscious part of your brain, right, to kind of go, okay, today I'm waking up and I'm feeling like X. I'm going to make myself feel different by either affirmations.
Are the feelings you have valid? And yes, they're probably valid because they're your feelings, but are they a genuine reaction to the situation you find yourself in? You know, have you under or over thought this through, whatever it is?
I mean, this doesn't really help, but cognitive behavioral therapy is a type of talking therapy where a therapist helps you to change how you think and act.
I've heard of it being
very umbrella.
a self-applied thing as well.
I mean,
I don't know. I don't think
anyway,
it's
this
relevant.
isn't a session on CBT.
Yeah,
That's perhaps a separate one.
Well, no, but I think it's important to you because it's what everyone. A lot of athletes do it, right?
No,
Especially
but Ben doesn't do CBT. You do what's it? It's cognitive.
Metacognition.
yeah. But I think the blanket term for kind of thinking your way through bad feelings is something that must be very, very common among athletes. I know I do it when I try and run marathons or whatever. Is
Okay,
you're
now I'm
kind of-
interested.
Ding,
Let's
ding,
get into
ding,
that.
ding,
Hang on.
But you,
Ding, 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 ding,
and
There's a running joke of Robert always associates with anything we're talking about. He's done it or he's experienced it in every episode we've had. We need a bell, honestly. Just ding, ding, ding.
you can have one, get one.
Okay, what was your last marathon?
But
exactly.
God, ages ago.
5 years ago.
but you know what I mean? Like you go through this process of everything hurts, everything. I'm suffering. I want to stop. My heart's racing like crazy. I physically need to stop, but then you think about it and you go, I'm just going to push.
Yeah,
through it.
and I think that's precisely it. You know, I was doing a marathon on Monday just for the hell of it for my birthday.
What?
And it was starting to hurt, right? Because I played a rugby tournament at the weekend.
GA
And
press.
I was just like, it's really hot. Think about what you're doing here. I'd stop for a burger and chips, which halfway through a marathon is a really bad idea for the second half,
Yeah.
by the way. there was a lot of stomach control going on. And I did start having those thoughts going, you don't really need to be doing this. But then you step back and you think, okay, why am I thinking that? Because I'm in the moment. You know, you can visualize somebody standing at the side of the road or pavement, wherever you're rolling along, watching you. You haven't got that much further to go. You know, it'd be done in an hour or half an hour or something. And then, you know, you'll be really happy that you did it. But if you stop now, you're just going to be like, eh.
So do you apply the same thing to when you're having, I don't know whether you have, presumably you have bad days and good days in terms of
So
when you're struggling?
Yeah, my symptoms don't vary that much. But as things have progressed, I am having to manage fatigue. And I get mental fatigue and physical fatigue. Physical fatigue as an athlete, I know how to deal with. All right. It's kind of like either you push through it and you put in some rest days, but mental fatigue is something I'm really starting to struggle with at the moment. So part of what
Sorry, is that a part of the ataxia or just general mental?
I don't know 100%,
fatigue?
but I know fatigue is definitely part of ataxia, 100%. I wouldn't want to speak for other ataxians out there, but I know that I have a cognitive dysfunction now. I also have damage to my nerves that transmit sound. So I just get very mentally fatigued communicating. So 45 minutes to an hour, I'll be fine. But after that, I need a break.
So I want to know, we've spoken a bit about some of the physical challenges, but I don't think any of those actually live up to your crossing the Alps. right? So talk me through that process of first. I know you did it with your friend. I think it's Peter.
Peter, yeah.
Yeah. What was your thought process when you thought about coming up with it, and then also, how was your sort of cognitive, mental fortitude during the process? What were the lows, etc.? So talk us through the whole from start to end
You talk
process
about the logistics of it. As
and
well.
logistics.
Oh, don't get me started about the logistics. I mean, so the logistics were a big thing, right? So obviously organising the logistics, getting people to help, just the logistics of recording video every day and getting it out there, and the logistics of tapping up journalists beforehand and just managing the whole social media. That was huge. The planning and organising sponsors and things, I was probably, if I think about it, I was probably working on it almost full time for 6 months. But how I came up with it, that's real simple. So I'd finished the Snowdon climb. I think I might have just done my second London Marathon. And I was like, okay, I need a big challenge, but I want this challenge to show what people in a wheelchair can do. Specifically what people in an everyday day chair can do, because a lot of people don't realise that you can really do massive things with your chair. It can really help you with sports. And I just thought, you know what, I've got to go big here. You know, I've done a mountain. What's bigger than a mountain? And the Alps just popped into my head.
A bigger mountain.
Has anyone ever crossed the Alps in a wheelchair? I mean, I know people have done it on elephants, but that was a while ago.
I was going to say something like that.
And yeah, and I just thought, okay, let's look into the feasibility of this. And then I'm like, okay, all right, okay, yeah, well, we'll plan that. I'll get this map out. And I remember going to Stanford's and ordering a map of the Alps, you know, and doing all these things. And I think it's a bit like writers researching a book. I was all over it for a month. And obviously I was completely distracted. So it was great therapy doing that. And then I thought, okay, how am I going to promote this? You know, and there was all the logistics around that and making it 10 marathons long. And yeah, it's just sort of full on.
Was this
thing.
the wheelchair you did it in?
Yeah. And that is the big deal, right? It's to do it in a standard wheelchair without one of those wheels on the front, just everyday equipment that people have.
No special snow tires or anything.
No. In fact, the one thing we didn't plan for, which nowadays, you know, considering the current situation with our heat waves every 5 seconds, we didn't actually plan for a heat wave. So we that nearly stopped us.
Whoa.
And I think I'm reading one of the articles that came out off the back of you completing. I think you described a moment where you were faced with a gravel road.
Yeah, we so one of the parts, so we'd gone on Eurovelo routes, and the idea about that was that we mostly paved all the way. There was a lot of gravel road, but it was hard gravel. But there was one section where the main road through the valley, it was just a little too dicey to play Frogger with the cars. And so we had to go on a windy gravel track that turned into a more of a trail with big roots and things like that. And that was physically very tough, especially when it started raining halfway through.
Is that an uphill or?
Oh, it was an uphill, yeah.
How long that took?
So that sort of 3 or 4 kilometres probably took us the best part of a day.
Yeah.
Was it a bit quicker on the way down as well?
Oh, yeah. Down had its own
he's been waiting to make
challenges.
that.
Yeah. I'm sure it had its challenges, yeah. But what was the, I mean, I can't imagine, I mean, the whole thing must have been tough. But what was the moment where you really thought mentally rather than physically, again, why am I doing this? I don't need to be doing this. And how did you cope with that?
So I think probably the big climbs, that when, you know, we got to the bottom of the first one and I looked up and I'm like, oh, you know, that really is one of those like cinema moments where the building just gets bigger and bigger as you look at it. And I was just like, all right, well, we'll just take it as we go and do small bits. And that's how we got through those sort of things. But then the long stretches sort of after the big climbs coming towards the other side and into the Italian province in Switzerland, there were long periods where it was quite flat, very hot. And that was quite tough. I think because there wasn't that sense of climbing or going down and getting that breeze in your face. It was just a long slog. And then, unfortunately, I self-catheterize. So the condition has caused the situation with my bladder. So I self-catheterize. I have to wear diapers, the whole shebang, right? And what happened over those several days, especially living in a camper van with 2 other blokes, we did our best to keep clean, but I ended up with what I think came out of my catheter as a bit of a stone or an infection. So I had a raging urinary infection. We still had 3 marathons to do and a big climb, and it was boiling. And at one part, I felt I was just going to pass out. And I thought, okay, you've done sort of 15, 16 days. You're 2 or 3 days from the end. If you give up now, you'll never do it. You'll never come back and finish it because it will just finish you. And I thought to myself, you just got to push through. And that was 2 or 3 days of feeling really ill, really sick, 40-degree temperatures, pushing marathons out. And, you know, there were times during that period where I thought, I can't do this.
Do you think that dealing with your ataxia made you stronger in that situation? Or do you think you're already mentally capable of it?
I think the former. I think, you know, one of the things I would say to people if they have a diagnosis of ataxia or any rare condition that's life-altering is that, you know, get busy being resilient. Get busy building up ways to adapt because life's going to shut you down otherwise. And it was those years of doing challenges or adapting. When I first got my wheelchair, I could only push it a few meters. I just didn't have the strength or the skills or the tech. And our bus stop is up a hill from our place. And I couldn't get there. I had to rely on my partner to push me up the hill. And every day I just had to fight a bit harder. And I think unless you build up that resilience, unless you build up maybe those social networks, you know, those running clubs or whatever it is you do, you're going to really struggle.
So is that the advice you would give to people, someone who tomorrow was diagnosed with ataxia or something similar? Is that the same advice you'd give them, or is there something else you'd like to?
I think one of the things I could have done is maybe grieved.
Yeah.
I didn't grieve for the life I'd lost. Like I hear a lot of people say they went through a grieving process. I didn't do that because I was just so grateful to have a diagnosis. And then I kind of had to be there for my partner because he was really struggling with it. And I think that was a mistake. I don't think I processed all those issues. I think I'm still processing them now. So I would say don't make that mistake. It's okay not to be okay there and to grieve, get upset, just so long as you have that, you know, I'm going to have to pick myself up here. I'm going to have to do something. I'm going to have to change and I'm going to have to be resilient.
I think it's also, I think we'd be remiss not to mention the impact it has on your family and your loved ones. I mean, I know, again, it's obviously not about me, but when my dad was diagnosed, my mum became essentially the primary carer, and there was a lot of work for her as well. But your partner has obviously struggled initially, right? But as you come around to it,
you know, it's solid now. You know, and there's a lot of things I can't do that he does, and obviously just in life, there's a lot of things I can do. But I think you mentioned friends and family. You know, the elephant in the room here is most ataxia is genetic. So if one person in the family gets it, there's a good chance another person will get it. And so a lot of the time, I wanted to find the answer because I wanted to know what it was so that my sister and my mother could be tested for it. So my mother has some neurological issues. We don't think it's ataxia. It's just a family tremor. And my sister had to have brain surgery because her part of her cerebellum started growing down the spinal cord. And what I wanted to make sure was, what is my ataxia? Can she be tested for it? So at least she knows. And I think, you know, knowing that as a marker that there might be more ataxia in my family, that's really tough for everyone.
And were you able to trace it back? And do you know any grandparents that perhaps had similar conditions?
I mean, I'm 53, and you know, my mother's generation sort of grew up and did their things in the early 40s, and then my grandparents were much before that. And so, of course, there isn't that documentation. It wasn't known about there. But there's certainly signs going from my mother's lineage that potentially there could be something there. And I saw a picture of, it's quite an old picture. I never met my grandparents on my father's side, but my dad's mum was in a wheelchair, and I don't know why.
Right. So there's no like anecdotal evidence? No,
nothing reserved. Since your diagnosis, have you picked up any new techniques for building resilience?
Keep pushing, man.
Keep pushing.
Just literally and figuratively.
Just keep pushing.
Just keep swimming.
Yeah.
Do you think, just to kind of progress the conversation a bit, do you think there are still any stigmas around disabilities, especially, I mean, I guess for the sake of this podcast and this forum, male disabilities as well.
Yeah, I think so. One of the things I learned very quickly is you get treated completely different if you've got one stick, if you've got two sticks, if you use a rollator or use a wheelchair. The moment you start using a wheelchair, people are actually kind to you. The rest of the time, people are like, oh, you're in my way. So I think how people perceive your disability is huge. And there are so many hidden disabilities as well. And yeah, there's still a lot of issues around there. I think things, from my perspective, seem to be better, but not all the time. You know, like last night, I wanted to go home. The tube station was unstaffed, so I had to go somewhere else, wait for a taxi, get the taxi back. You know, the world isn't perfect. The built world definitely isn't perfect. You know, that needs to change. But the one thing that probably annoys me and a lot of my friends the most is, as a 50-year-old man that basically, you know, is quite independent, I'll get babied by people I've never met.
Yeah.
That does my head in.
In what way? They just kind of talk down to you, right?
Yeah, you get talked down to, or like you're going somewhere and you're at a ticket booth or something and you're buying a ticket, it's clearly you buying it, you know, and that sort of thing. And they'll talk to the person with you. You know, that can really get grating. Or I had it literally, funny enough, I was going for the world record at London Marathon earlier this year.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. Doing well, flying. I might have been a little off the pace. I might have been about right. I'm not generally faster in the second half of a marathon. Somebody came up behind me and started pushing me. That was it. World record attempt over.
No way.
Yeah. And it's
Just like a random spectator.
Yeah. No, another runner. And we're all going sub-3 pace, right? So why the hell? But it's that invasion of privacy or the assumption that you must need help without asking. So literally 2 days ago, I'm pushing up a ramp near my home. All of a sudden, shoving back, somebody's pushing me. And it's those sort of things. You know, people actually mean well. They just don't stop to think. There's an assumption that you're maybe more disabled than you are.
Yeah, there's still a level of consent that needs to be gone through.
Yeah, it's about consent. 100%.
It feels like it's sympathy rather than empathy. It's the sort of,
that's a good call.
I feel like I need to help you because I think that you're struggling, and rather than, you know, I imagine that I'm a person that's struggling with something, and if I was that person, it's exactly the same as when someone's got a serious, you know, terminal illness or something. I've seen it loads of times where someone, as soon as they get seriously sick, everybody crowds around them, and they seem to forget that this is a human being who maybe wants to be left alone sometimes, maybe wants X, maybe wants Y, and it's not about everybody else.
That leads on to a good point. You know, when we talk about how you cope with things, I think I cope with things a lot of the time by just going out, pushing, be by myself, and let my mind rest. And it's being able to get some of your own headspace, I think is so important.
Yeah. Quick tangent. Robert works in construction, so if you ever have problems with the built environment, you can send it all to him. Tell him to do better.
We do our best, okay? It's hard work.
Just do better.
Just do better.
Translate that. We do our best with the budget we have.
We do our best with the budget we have.
Title of this episode: Do Better, Robert.
Ben, we're gonna move to this part of the podcast. I'm just conscious of time. It's the quick fire round.
Okay.
And you haven't seen these questions. They're just 5 questions. Usually we say respond in one, you know, as few words as possible, but as much as you need, you know, but keep it brief, essentially. I'm going to ask you the questions, and then whatever comes to mind, just your gut reaction, your gut thoughts in response.
You're really building this up.
They're not even that, you know, they're not.
Because he knows he's got time to fill.
This is not War and Peace. This is not you know, anything too philosophical. So, you know, they're quite basic. But yeah, first question: your first thought when you'd received the official ataxia diagnosis?
Thank fuck for that.
Good. And for listeners who've never heard of ataxia, in a few words, what do you wish more people understood about it?
I think the more people that understand it, the more that it becomes a common household name, the more that people can fundraise. That leads on to more funding for research and treatments. So the more we can get the word out there, the better.
Is there anything specific about, just to build on that, is there anything specific about the condition itself that you want people to understand?
I think that the person isn't lost. You know, the person is still there. They're still mentally functioning. They want to have a life just like everybody else.
Great. What's one thing people always get wrong about disability?
I think we spoke about it already. It's consent. It's, you know, not diving in there and taking choices away from you.
Yeah.
Can I get a quick fire?
Of course.
Since we brought him up already, if you could say one thing to Andy Burnham, what would that be?
Oh, that's simple. Andy, mate, Mayor of Manchester, you know, you signed on with Ataxia UK to get this drug funded. Time to deliver, mate.
You heard it here first.
Hey.
Right, I'm going to at Andy Burnham on this when we post this.
It'd be good if you saw it.
Yeah, if you could change one misconception about men's mental health overnight, what would it be?
Oh, that's a tough one.
And it can be within the context of, you know, dealing with a diagnosis or just in general. It's up to you.
I don't think I have an answer.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And that's
Sorry
an
about
answer.
that.
No, that's absolutely
That's
fine.
an answer itself.
That's an answer in itself. It is. I mean, it's one of those. I did hesitate putting it in there because you need a lot more than kind of a
quick
few
fire,
words.
solve all
Yeah.
those problems. But
That's almost like a topic in itself, a conversation in itself.
Yeah.
Last one. When life gets tough, what's the first thing that helps you reset?
Pushing.
yeah, exercise.
Keep
essentially.
Sport. Sport has saved my life, I think.
Can I ask? And I wanted to ask this. When was your lowest moment? Would you? I mean, you might be one of these people that didn't really perceive as having a low moment, but do you have a lowest?
I think lately I've started to realise that's still to come.
So even with the diagnosis, with all of your
Yeah.
training, with all of that stuff, it's
I'm very aware
Right.
that the lowest moment is still to come.
And how do you cope with that?
Aiming for the stars, trying to go high, climbing mountains, pushing over mountains, changing things.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you about that because I think I read somewhere that you're next. Well, first of all, just to clarify, so you're the first. You and Peter are the first
Yeah.
people to cross the Alps, right? In
It
a
was
in a
Peter
wheelchair.
by a meter.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think I read somewhere that you're considering. I don't want to steal your thunder, but crossing Canada, is that right?
Yeah, I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
So would Peter.
Yeah.
He's actually out of action at the moment. So Pete, I hope you get well soon, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Likewise.
was trying to be the first person to go from Land's End to John O'Groats, turn around and go back from John O'Groats
way.
to Land's End.
Wow.
And he got like 3/4 of the way. He was pulling a trailer behind him, totally unsupported. Middle of the night, hit a pothole, span out the chair, and he smashed his shoulder in about 3 places. So, you know,
well done.
we've got to get him fixed, and then we got to go find our Canada.
Peter, I hope you get better soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are some of the other challenges on your vision board?
So I've got Berlin and Chicago Marathon this year.
Yeah.
I've got this big desire to go and push a 100-miler in a day. So I'm looking for a place to do that. I want to start a thing where we cross countries. So probably start small, you know, like Liechtenstein or something, and build up to some of the bigger countries. So I think Canada will be part of that, but down the road.
That's a big country. to
It is a
cross.
big country.
Quite rocky as well.
Oh, yeah.
Quite
And
mountainous.
it's got mountains. I mean, I don't know if I should say this. I am already starting to plan a little Andes thing.
Oh,
Okay.
So I've started working on the logistics for that.
little Patagonia trip, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, once you've done that, or if you need, we'd love to have you back on this to speak about that experience.
No worries.
And I know you're quite a prominent. I think I understand you're quite a prominent spokesman for Ataxia UK and the charity Ataxia UK and the work that they're doing. Other than them, where are other places that people can read up and learn more about ataxia?
So I guess it depends where you're based. So there's a charity in Wales. I think they've just rebranded, but they're called Ataxia and Me. There is a National Ataxia Federation in the United States. But, you know, the main one for the UK would be Ataxia UK. And I would check out their website. There's so much advice on there. And, you know, they don't just fund medical research. They provide support groups and funding for that. They hook you up with other people. They provide outreach services. And you know, all the information you could want if you're newly diagnosed or trying to find out about ataxia.
Okay. And building up on that, where can people follow you and your adventures?
Probably the best bet's my Instagram, so it's Ben Pushes.
Ben Pushes.
Yeah.
There
Nice.
you go.
There's
Love
a
it.
theme going on here.
There is a theme,
There's
yeah.
a theme going on here.
I won't ask this question because you kind of already answered it earlier when it was more around sort of if someone's dealing with a diagnosis, how they can deal. We've already touched on that already.
But anyway, here it comes.
No, I mean we can. Yeah, I mean I think you said everything you wanted to say about that, right?
I think so.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. And so this is a recurring theme that we have where we ask the previous guest to leave a question for,
Okay.
and then we'll give you the chance to leave a question for the next guest as well. This is a question from our previous guest, Kieran Riley, who's founded a charity called Speak It Out, which helps young victims of male victims of sexual abuse. And his question, obviously not knowing it was you, but to you is there something that you've been putting off addressing in your life because you feel like it's too overwhelming? And if there is, what are you going to do about it?
So I've been writing this book for 10 years that I've never finished. Well, that's a good question. I think maybe planning for the future. I've been really putting that off. I've just been focusing on the now and the near term.
In what sense?
Just the progression and how life's going to be. I think I need to start thinking about things maybe post pushing. Hopefully, I'll still be pushing when I die. My progression is slow, but yeah, I don't look past the next.
Yeah, I was
6
going to
months.
ask this is what, because it can be quite a dark question, or potentially be quite a dark question, is when you can't focus on that, on pushing, on going up mountains and doing all of these things. What will you then? Have you given any thought to what you will do instead? I know you
Well,
just said you didn't, but
yeah. I'm trying to think of things, but nothing's really landing at the moment. I mean, I play rugby for Harlequins. I'm one of the faster players there at the moment, and we have some other players that do a different role in the team. So as I progress, then I'll still be able to do that. So, yeah, probably that.
Ben, what do you not do? You play rugby for Harlequins, you run London marathons, you're writing a book, you cross the Alps. Is there anything you don't do?
Well, I need to get back in the pool. I've been a bit lazy there.
On that book, you're not like a secret ghostwriter for Game of Thrones, are you? Because I've been waiting for that to come out for a good 10 years.
No.
Okay.
And then, just finally, so it's your chance to ask a question that you would like to leave for the next guest.
I think it would be maybe based on my learnings and to say, how are you thinking about your thinking?
What are you thinking? What you're thinking? Do you want to elaborate on that just slightly more?
The metacognition.
Metacognition.
Yeah.
Cognition,
So okay.
it's pretty clear.
What are you doing to think about your thoughts? Are they valid? How are you processing those, and what are you doing to maybe abstract yourself from the problem?
Do you kind of, and this is a follow-on question, do you kind of, how do you do it? Do you do it when you're working out, or do you do it at home? And if you're at home, what is it that you do to kind of not?
It tends to be reflective. So, for instance, just as an anecdote, I got cut up by a guy jumping a red light on a bike. I think it was yesterday morning, and I just lost it.
Chased
I'm
him
like,
down.
Yeah, I might have done. And I just wanted to let him know it wasn't a great thing to do. But actually, reflecting back, I could have just pointed to the red light and smiled. That might have actually got the message home better.
Being chased by someone in a wheelchair is probably going to make him reflect on his behavior.
You never
Well,
know.
Yeah.
It didn't stop me when I was chased by someone yesterday.
Oh, wasn't
Oh,
you?
were you on a bike?
Come and think of it, you're about the same build.
Ben, thank you so much
Yeah.
No, you're
for
welcome.
joining us.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's been
and
awesome.
we'd love to keep track of your future adventures and have you on as well to speak about those.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Ben.
Yeah, thanks for that. It's amazing.
All right.